Welcome to Miss McCann Classroom. Today we'll be learning about hurricanes.
I thought you was Maria.
Hurricanes. We're learning about hurricanes today.
Hurricanes.
Okay. So today we're going to cover what is a hurricane, what are the parts of a hurricane, categories of the hurricane, what makes hurricanes form, how they're named, seasons, hurricane studies, and the worst hurricanes in history. What?
He's back?
No.
Fernando's back?
No. We're not talking about other students. We're recording.
Oh, I read it. What is a hurricane?
No.
Hurricane.
What's
No.
a hurricane?
You can't say it right. Can't read it.
Hurricane.
So, a hurricane is a type of storm called a tropical cyclone, which forms over tropical or subtropical waters. So, what's your first word on your vocab slides?
Hurricane.
Hurricanes.
Thank you.
Hurricanes.
Can y'all read that? Don't spell it right. You gotta do.
A tropical cyclone is a rotating low-pressure weather system that has organized thunderstorms, but no fronts. A boundary separating two air masses of different densities. You've heard of warm fronts and cold fronts and things like that. They typically
So
cause tornadoes.
Cold front. Oh my God. What's the definition?
A type of a rotating low-pressure weather system.
Oh, Jesus Christ, hallelujah.
Oh my gosh, can we please add text box for us?
Yeah, I said I consider it. I consider not doing it.
So it's tropical cyclone.
A low-pressure, a rotating low-pressure weather system is your definition.
So for characteristics, I put what you said, low pressure. Can I put tropical cyclone?
Sure. An example would be a tropical cyclone.
How would that differ?
Characteristic,
Tropical cyclone.
strong winds, heavy rains.
I'm going to put low pressure.
So tropical cyclones with maximum sustained surface winds of less than 39 miles per hour are called tropical depressions.
I had depression. No,
Not the same thing.
I'm just joking. I don't know depression.
A tropical depression becomes a tropical storm 63 kilometers per hour. And then that tropical storm gets upgraded to a hurricane if it reaches 119 kilometers per hour or 74 miles per hour.
What's an example?
An example, tropical cyclone is your example.
Oh.
Characteristics would be like strong winds, 119 kilometer hour winds.
I have great depression.
That's a period in time. So what are parts of
What's
it?
another example?
A tropical depression.
I'll put depression. What's another example?
Tropical depression or tropical storm. Those are not hurricanes, but they're similar.
Oh, what are the parts of a hurricane?
Yes, what are the parts of a hurricane? So
Eyewall, and brain brand.
did you just say
No
brands?
snacks.
Oh, bands.
Okay, so the eye is the hole at the center of the storm. Winds are light in this area. Skies are partly cloudy and sometimes even clear.
Hold on, the hole at the center of the storm. Okay.
So, can someone tell Haley the next word?
Wait, I'm looking for kids. Really not my back right now.
Haley, eye.
That one's not that good. Okay.
So the eye wall is
Oh, wait, characteristics, examples.
Wait,
So-
the eye wall.
Eyeball.
we're on eye.
I love you, not this. Okay, we can put one for characteristics. I don't even care.
What's the definition of eye? Is the whole.
It's the hole in the middle of the hurricane.
Example, skies. Non-example, eyeball.
So characteristics, light winds. Example, the center. Non-example, the eye wall.
Wait, what? We're so horrible.
Okay, eye wall is your next word. Haley's got it on the board.
I'm progress off this again. I gotta keep this.
That's awesome. The eye wall is a ring of thunderstorms. These storms swirl around the eye.
A ring. I got you.
So the wall is where the winds are the strongest and rain is the heaviest. So your definition.
Hole at the center of the storm. Okay, now eye wall. What is that?
My shirt.
Ah.
Thank you, Mr. Ken. You're the best.
No problem.
Where are you doing it? Because I know I'm so close.
Okay. The eye wall and the ring of thunderstorms. A definition?
Yeah, so your definition is going to be a ring of thunderstorms. Characteristic, it's going to swirl around the eye.
Yes, Mr. Ken. This is a bit easier if you have text box. Ring of the thunderstorm. It's a hurricane.
Okay, and then characteristics are
Swirl around the eye. Your example, a rain band.
Rain band.
rain.
Rain band.
God is up for it. What is that? What?
Swirl around the eye.
Okay, and then non-examples?
Eye.
Eye. I almost put the eye. As my knee.
Okay, next word, rain bands. These are bands of clouds and rain go far out from a hurricane's eye. These bands stretch for hundreds of miles. They contain thunderstorms and sometimes tornadoes.
Yeah.
Okay, so your rain bands, this is going to be bands of clouds and rain that come off the hurricane.
Yeah, 9 more weeks left of school. Yeah.
Bands of clouds and rain.
That come off the hurricane. Characteristics, heavier rain
Heavier rain.
and stronger wind.
I have a headache.
Me too. An example would be a tornado.
Or not.
Colorado.
You are hilarious.
I thought I
Are
was
you
familiar.
talking about Yeah.
Yes, people can hear you.
Hey!
This is why I said to mind your P's and Q's. We're recording today. I didn't pre-record this one. It's all good. Nathan will redo it third period.
T-O-R-N.
R.
I don't know who I have to apex.
T-O-R-N.
Okay. And then non-example would be like the eye wall. We're just going to go with that. I'm not sure if that makes sense right now. Okay, so this is a structure of a hurricane. As you can see, you have the eye in the middle, eye wall. You've got your rain bands. You've got the cold air going up, the warm air swirling around. Categories of hurricanes. Hurricanes are categorized on the basis of the intensity is measured using
That's our definition, Haley. That's the word. Put word down.
Hurricanes again?
Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale. It names after Herbert Saffir, a consulting engineer in Coral Gables, Florida, and Robert Simpson, Director of the National Hurricane Center. Safar developed the first version of the scale in 1971, which uses wind speeds as a guide to the damage. A scale is devised based on the Hurricane Camille that hit the Mississippi coast in August 17, 1969. Safar Simpson scales hurricanes are rated by their potential for damage on a scale of 1 to 5. So your definition would be a rating system for hurricanes.
What?
Your definition is a rating system for hurricanes.
A rating system?
Yes.
What's the higher?
Yes. So characteristics would be scale for potential of damage,
Scale for what?
potential of damage,
Oh. Did it fit that?
because y'all ate them all.
Examples?
Example would be a cat.
This kid, don't you need to take a bathroom break?
No. We're not even halfway through this lecture.
What you mean?
Hey, it's not
This is the only slide left?
Yes.
Then we can hurry up, but we got a lot more slides to go.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, y'all wasted my time. Okay, so non-example would be like a tropical depression.
Oh, God, your thing's like tripping.
Is that a cat? Cat 5?
Tropical depression would be a non-example.
I don't think that's what we're talking about right now.
Are we ready to move on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, as you can see, you have your category 1. It has minimal damage.
Okay, I've heard that one.
And it describes that here. You can pause this and look at this further. You have your storm surge. This is how much water they
A
expect
test on Wednesday.
to come up on land. Thank you for talking during my lecture. Cat 2. These are your expected wind speeds, moderate damage, your storm surge. And you got Cat 3, Cat 4, and Cat 5. We'll go over examples of these later. So, that's what a Cat 1 should look like. This is a Cat 2.
Is that water?
Then you have, yes, that's water. Then you have
What
Cat
is
5.
that?
Yes.
What's the storm hurricane? Hurricane William.
No. It would be the Galveston hurricane of something, because like only one building survived on the whole island. And they had like over 1,000 deaths or something like that. We're getting to it. Like, let me just get through this. There are 2 main ingredients that are needed for the formation of hurricanes. One ingredient is warm water. Warm ocean water provides energy, and it's usually the surface water temperature must be about 79 degrees or higher for a hurricane to form. The other ingredient is winds. That don't change much in speed or direction as they go up in the sky.
You know my hurricane.
Say points to remember. Hurricanes can be called as cyclones or typhoons depending on where they are in the ocean. In the Atlantic and Northern Pacific, the storms are called hurricanes, after Caribbean god of evil, named hurricanes. Can it wait? Yes, thank you. So, in the Northern Pacific, the same powerful storms are called typhoons, and we're done with this slide. So, how are they named?
Oh, no.
I have a
They
hurricane.
go by alphabetical order.
Yes, okay, shush. So, there are more than one hurricane at a time. This is one reason hurricanes are named. Names make it easier to keep track of and talk about storms.
See?
If a hurricane causes enough damage, they will retire that name.
I have a hurricane in Marine.
Really?
Yes, so like they will never use Hurricane Harvey again. They will never use Hurricane Katrina again. I think Rita's been retired.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list right now of retired names.
So each year, tropical storms are named in alphabetical order. The names come from a list for that year. So they have like everything for the next 3 years already pre-planned, A through Z. And if they get to Z, they'll start in on the Greek alphabet.
I'm looking right now too.
And so there's six lists of names. They recycle them, but certain names get retired, so those names change. So you start out every other year, A will be a boy, and then the next year it'll be a girl. So you go boy, girl, A, B, C.
Well, I was lucky to be a girl.
We're in 2021, so this is our list of names so far.
Where's Maria? I don't see that on here.
I think that one got retired too. I think Maria was like 2017, and
oh, there I am.
judging by this, they'll probably retire it.
Wow.
Okay, so there's your North Pacific names. Little different.
I see McCann.
I don't think that's a name they use. Okay.
You have hurricane name?
And then there's your Central North Pacific names.
What?
Then here's your Indian Ocean names.
I can't read those words.
Okay, so the Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st through November 30th, although we have had stuff fall outside of that. In the northeastern Pacific, the official season runs from May 15th to November 30th. In the northwestern Pacific, it's most common from late June through December. And the northern Indian Ocean sees cyclones from April to December. So we do a lot of satellite pictures. Have y'all watched like news when a hurricane's fixing to hit, and you see a lot of satellite pictures and stuff like that of the hurricane?
No.
So watch the news when a hurricane hits. You see like a lot of satellite photos and everything.
Hurricane Center Rosebud.
So some satellite instruments measure cloud and ocean temperatures. Others measure height of clouds and fast rain falling. Still others measure speed and direction of winds. And then we have the Navy or the Air Force, one of the two, will fly a jet into the center of a hurricane. Yes. To get barometric pressure readings and take pictures and things like that to tell us. Yeah, but as long as it's a specialized plane. 10 most worst hurricanes in history.
Ooh.
So Hugo. Hugo was one of the most fearsome storms to hit the Carolinas, causing 50 deaths and about $8 billion in damage in the U.S. and the Caribbean. The massive storm was classified as a Cat 3 hurricane as it approached Charleston from Puerto Rico in late September 1989, but intensified to a Cat 4 storm before making landfall at Sullivan's Island, South Carolina. With winds clocking in at 135 miles per hour, Hugo was the strongest storm to hit the east coast north of Florida since Hurricane Hazel in 1954. It moved quickly at nearly 30 miles per hour, which is really fast for a hurricane, and causing significant damage before it went to Charleston.
I have a question.
It can wait. Hurricane Harvey in August 2017, so y'all were very much alive at that point in time.
I remember Hurricane Harvey.
Harvey was a Cat 4, and it coincided with its peak intensity of 130 miles per hour. It severely flooded Houston, and it kept going on land and then backing off land and then going on land and then backing off land. and it actually moved up and down the coast doing that. That's why it was so bad. More than 13,000 people required rescuing. Overall, 30,000 people from that state were displaced by floodwaters. It caused $70 to $108 billion in damage, making it the second most expensive storm in history, and it claimed about 65 lives. Mm-hmm. So, Hurricane Sandy. This happened in 2012 in October. It went through the Caribbean and then hit New Jersey and New York and flooded them, putting 13 feet of water into lower Manhattan. Sandy destroyed or damaged about 650,000 homes in the Northeast region and killed 117 people in the U.S. alone, as well as 69 others in Canada and the Caribbean. And it caused about $65 billion in damage. Hurricane Camille. It had 205-mile-hour winds, hit the Gulf Coast and later Virginia. So it went through Florida.
It hit you, Virginia.
I wasn't there when Camille hit. In 1969, before I was born, Camille played an important role in hurricane tracking in that it spawned the creation of the Saffir-Simpson scale that we talked about earlier, and it caused 256 deaths. So Hurricane Gilbert, with a 500 nautical mile diameter, Gilbert was one of the largest hurricanes ever observed.
Not doing nothing.
One of y'all's making a squeaky noise.
That's why I said everything
no.
or I was tripping.
I'm looking at maybe 3 of them.
Oh, I'll be honest with you. Where you at?
The hurricane moved onto Cayman Islands and Mexico, among other areas, before weakening across Texas, manifesting itself into a series of tornadoes. Caused 318 deaths, and 28 died when a Cuban freight ship was thrown into a shrimp boat. So, Florida Keys Labor Day hurricane. This is a Cat 5 storm that happened way, way, way back in the day of 1935, before anybody was warned about anything, so that's why it had such extensive damage. His naming of hurricanes didn't happen until 1953. Katrina.
Hey, I remember this one.
So this happened when y'all were just like,
The doggy, look at the doggy.
I think they meant August 2007 that Hurricane Katrina hit,
I was 4 years old then.
and it caused breaches in the levee. It flooded New Orleans, which is already below sea level, because all they did was just drain a swamp. Not the smartest idea. This is considered one of the most costly, deadliest hurricanes in history. Then the Galveston hurricane of 1900.
Ooh.
I remember that.
It took an estimated 6,000 to 12,000 lives.
Dang.
And it pretty much completely flattened Galveston Island. So then you have Hurricane Mitch that in October 1998, which killed approximately 11,000 people.
The Honduras.
It hit the Western Hemisphere in Nicaragua, and yeah, it caused a bunch of stuff.
The Great Hurricane of 1780.
So it ripped through the Caribbean, killing 22,000 people, and this was really before hurricane data was super kept. But this is what we think happened. You can read it. This video is getting long enough. So, hurricanes cause damage with high winds, storm surge, heavy rainfall, and tornadoes. High winds can range from 74 to 155 miles per hour, and it's responsible for much of the structural damage. Storm surge, rapidly rising water, cause flood damage. Water levels can rise up to 15 feet or more. A 23-foot storm surge would flood 67% of U.S. interstates, including 50% of arterial highways. So heavy rainfall also causes more flooding, stuff like that. Tornadoes, we're semi-familiar with those.
Dorothy.
And then hurricane safety tips. Evacuate when they tell you to. That's the best one. And we are good. I will talk to you guys later.
Bye,
have a
guys.
great
Have
week.
fun.
And I will have the rest of your work up as soon as possible.
That's right.
Bye.